Report to the cloud. Cool. I think we're recording. Does it say we're recording?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Kenny Johnston. I'm Director of Product Management here. And Sarah, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Sarah O'Donnell. I'm the UX Research Manager at GitLab.
Cool. And I wanted to walk through the kind of UX research capabilities and kind of the functions of your team that are available to the product management team. So I'll start with product managers will probably first encounter this from what we call our sensing mechanisms, which is our kind of set of places where we say these are important places for you to understand what's going on in the broader community and ecosystem so that you can use that to influence how you prioritize our issues and features in your group. So we talk about how, especially for users, UX research is a very valuable sensing mechanism. This link will take me to this UX research page. And I would love to hear, Sarah, you kind of explain maybe a little bit about the function of your team, how it interacts with both product management and product design, and then maybe just walk through the basic how to request research and how that process would work as a product from a product manager's perspective.
Of course. So we have currently 3 researchers on the team. We have Catherine, who works over development, enablement, and growth. And we have Tally and Laurie, who work over ops, CI/CD, secure, and defend. And we are currently hiring for a 4th researcher who will work over development, enablement, and growth. So they're the kind of people that you kind of want to be reaching out to when you raise a research request. So we have a UX research project, and within that project we have a template for a research proposal. And what we would like you to do is try and fill out that research proposal. So it'll ask you a couple of questions, and all we're trying to do is understand what you're trying to solve. What problem do you have, and what are you thinking about?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to go through and create a new issue right here.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest way. Yeah.
Okay.
So just a couple of questions. Don't worry if you can't be that detailed in it. If you're not sure what questions you want to ask users, then that's what the researchers are there to do to help. Just give us some rough ideas, and that's absolutely fine. And what will happen is when you raise this request, a researcher and the relevant research for the stage group will review the request, and what they'll do is they might ask you a couple of questions, might help you try and flesh it out more within the issue. What we tend to do is that we don't want to go back and forth within issues, and as researchers as well, we're not as familiar sometimes with the product as a product manager is, so we like to kind of jump into a conversation with you and really understand what it is that we're testing, so that when we sit with users, then we can really guide them through the process. So we will have a chat with the product manager. We'll also bring the product designer into that call and the UX manager, so that's a design UX manager. And then we can discuss what it is you kind of want to achieve and how we're going to work on this together. So what we've been doing a lot of recently is bringing more designers on board to kind of be involved with the research. So we have designers who are leading the research themselves, so they might be doing the interviews and we're kind of just giving them a sense check when it comes to a script or something like that. Or a researcher can lead them, and you as a PM might want to kind of sit in and take notes, or just kind of listen along and ask a few questions at the end. We're very flexible. I think that's the main thing. We can kind of work with what everybody kind of wants us to do. So we'll flesh that out together. We'll get you some users lined up, and then after we've kind of done like the interviews or usability testing, whatever it is, then we'll have a wash-up meeting, and that's really just to kind of go through the results together and work out what the next steps are going to be. Now we document everything, all our findings within the UX Insights repository. This is a fairly new system. So that's the research project.
Oh, there's an Insights project that I should be at?
Yeah.
Oops, okay.
There's a link on the in the research handbook. I added this morning, that's how prepared I was. Scroll down.
Scroll down?
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, there we go. You just gone past.
Sorry, did I miss it?
Yeah, up a bit. Up a tiny bit more. There you go.
Insights repository.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It says in the issues list.
it has an issues, yeah, a list, yes. So there's multiple ways to kind of navigate this. So we have a directory of research within the README file. So if you kind of want to look at a high level what we've been doing,
cool.
we've kind of broken it down by sections. And what this will do is if you click on any one of them, it'll take you through to like an epic. Yeah. And then inside the epic, we're kind of giving a bit of the user background, the kind of research questions that we were asking. We are still working to flesh this out a bit more. We're going to add like an executive summary into there. And then maybe some of the things that we continue to add to that, like kind of more goals and hypotheses and things like that. So at a high level, you'll be able to kind of read through this and kind of get a high level overview of what was happening during the study. And then what we also do within the epic, we break out the individual insights into issues.
So these are like kind of, maybe if you were doing some sort of usability testing as part of the research project, each test would have its own insight issue.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if you kind of click into any one of them. So again, we were kind of doing this retrospectively when we kind of created the insights repository, but what we're hoping to do moving forwards is you can see how I've kind of put a relevant timestamp. So I'm saying that I saw this happen to one user, and that'll be that was user number 5 video, and at 7 minutes 20 seconds, that's when they had an issue. And that's just kind of supporting what the insight was.
Cool.
And the reason that we've kind of done it within issues as well is that it means that we can tag very effectively with our labels. So we can tag by stage group and feature and the type of testing we were doing. And again, we're kind of just still growing that list, but that was what we kind of started with, the basics. But it also means then that, you know, you can come into the repository and just search as well.
Yeah, if I go here and
so if we search into closed issues, if we switch into that, so our open issues are the ones that we're currently adding in and that we're currently working on. So the closed issues, yeah.
Let's do configure since we were just on that one.
And I'll bring up anything research-wise that we've done for configure. And this way you can kind of see, so we've got GCP, Credit Office, serverless, also DevOps, all the kind of different projects we've done.
Awesome. So as a product manager, I can both obviously request new research, but I can also come look at all the previous research that's been done, and it's organized by insight.
Exactly. And I'd also encourage product managers to add their own insights into this. You know, if you're doing kind of user interviews with users, feel free to put your insights into this. And the good thing about doing that, that means we can triangulate data as well. So perhaps if I've spotted, say, I've been doing some usability testing and I've spotted one user who's kind of done something that I think, oh, it could be an edge case, but I'm going to put it into the repository anyway, so I've got a record of it. And then say a product manager does something similar and they see that same behavior. Well, now we've got multiple users that are experiencing that problem, so we know we now need to do something about it. It isn't just one person's opinion or problem.
Can you give me an example of a behavior that you would think would warrant a product manager adding to this insights repository?
I think anything. So even if you were doing like a customer interview and they said, so one of the things that we've covered in the past is like just doing interviews with like operations engineers, and we asked them the question of what do you want from a monitoring solution? So we put that into the repository. So then we've got like a directory of tools that kind of operations engineers are using and the metrics that they're referring to as well. And again, just like kind of adding, it adds just more weight to the research that already exists.
Gotcha.
Same if someone runs into a problem. And I think it's especially important because I think the way kind of product managers have done interviews in the past, you might only have like one call, perhaps a week with a customer. And you want to make sure that you're not designing for one customer as well. You want to make sure that you're designing for the majority of our customers. So if you kind of just document that within here, then in a few weeks' time, you might speak with another customer and think, oh, haha, I've heard that somewhere before. So now you've got that record that you can come back to.
Okay, so not just any kind of insight, not just I was thinking maybe it should be targeted towards, in your monitoring example, places where a user said they were confused by our current application or struggled with the usability or like interaction with our current system or current product. And you're saying both that and then the kind of, I guess, more what I would love to have statements.
Yeah, exactly. Pain points, things that they really want, like, you know, the motivations for using certain tooling. And it's any kind of testing. It could be from like surveys, usability testing, user interviews. What we would like is to try and support these insights with evidence as much as possible. So if you've recorded the conversation and you can kind of put that into there, that's great. And what you can do is, you know, you can set your permissions on the Google Drive level, so it's only like internal to GitLab, for example. And then if you feel still uncomfortable about that, then a user quote is always helpful. You know, what did they exactly say? Just note it in your kind of a discussion guide and then put it into an issue.
Cool, great. Awesome. So as a product manager, I can request research. I can add my own content to this insights, and maybe it will also surface other previous research, and then I can also directly search for previous research relevant to me. That's awesome. I wanted to also see if you could talk to us a little bit about First Look. So this is also referenced from the sensing mechanisms, but it seems like it's maybe a defined beta program of users. Could you talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah.
If that's different from other research or part of the same process?
Yeah, so GitLab First Look is our UX research panel, and that's what it used to be called. So if you've heard that term before, and that's where it's come from. So these are people who opted in to receive research studies from GitLab. And so they're normally the first people who receive invites to user interviews, or we might be doing beta testing or a survey, something like that. These are the first people that we normally reach out to. We generally have around 2,000 active users on the panel, and we regularly kind of clean that out every so often as well, and we make sure that people are actually engaged with the emails that we're sending. And what we do is, in return for kind of users engaging with us, we incentivize them as well. So with Amazon vouchers and things like that, so we pay them for their time. So like I say, these are the people that we normally reach out to first. We've had some difficulties in the past with reaching out to people who've like perhaps signed up through GitLab.com and have created an account with GitLab, because they need to be able to opt in to receive emails from GitLab, and that is actually controlled by our marketing team rather than the UX research team. So therefore that's their kind of database, so we try to keep the two separate from one another. But if there is something there that you'd like us to test with GitLab.com users, and the best person to just double check that we've got permission to reach out to those users is Jennifer. And if she says, yeah, that's okay, sorry, you can send a survey to those people, then we'll reach out to those people as well.
Okay. And so is it that when a product manager requests UX research, the vast majority of them, that research is conducted with this First Look group or panel? Okay, cool.
Yes, exactly. And we also, we have Emily von Hoffman, who's great at kind of tweeting out our research studies as well. She does a good job of putting it on the main GitLab Twitter account, and we get a lot of engagement that way as well.
Okay. Is it possible or not recommended that we request research for non-GitLab existing users?
Yes, we do have non-GitLab users on the panel.
Okay,
so we encourage anyone to kind of sign up for the panel, just anyone who has a bit of an interest in GitLab. And we have plenty of people who would like to move to GitLab, but perhaps their company's not there yet, and they're perhaps using a competitor product. So they're still keeping an eye on GitLab and on what we're doing and how we're developing the products, and perhaps having those conversations internally about how they can convince their manager to move to GitLab.
Awesome. Cool. This is great. Any other parting words you would leave product managers with when considering UX research?
I'd always say like loop in researchers. We're not gatekeepers to research. We want everybody to be able to effectively carry out research. But the good thing about speaking to a researcher is if you ever want a sense check, so you wrote up some questions and you want to make sure that you're not leading users and you're going to get the answers that you really want from the study, and have a chat with a researcher. That's what they're there for. The other thing is that we will be creating some training videos as well to aid in this, and they'll be going into the handbook, and they're kind of top of my priority list at the moment, and we'll be giving you some guidance on how to kind of write questions, how to synthesize research, and even how to use the Insights repository as well.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate it, and I'll make sure this gets posted to the PM team.
Thanks very much, Kenny.